Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right. As we pay attention to these collapsing banks, we're starting to see a trend happen. These bigger banks are acquiring them, I guess is the best way you want to put it. What we spot out there is a trend, and that is these bigger banks are offering to buy these smaller banks so that they don't wreck the economy. Well, they got a name for these special banks, these ones that are trying to acquire the smaller ones. We'll go over that here in just a moment. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, check out our friends at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $200, you will get an additional ½ ounce of silver with your order. Just follow the link down below in the description. No promo codes are needed. You can find me on other social media platforms like Facebook. I do have my own group called Pimpy's Investment Chat. Over here we do talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency, as well as foreign currency investments and any other investments you wish to talk about. Come on over here. It's free to join. Just follow the link down below in the description. I can be found on Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Odyssey, and now Rumble. Yes, that's right. I finally got a Rumble. And in addition to that, you can find me over here at Pimpy's News Network. If I should ever get kicked off of YouTube, you can find me on any other one of these platforms. So come join me. It's free to do so. The links for all these locations are down below in the description. So come on over and join me. So this chart's from 2018. You can see which banks are the big banks. I had a chart that showed all the banks, and you can see them merging little by little into these bigger banks. So you can tell this has been going on now for quite some time. And these mergers aren't by accident. This is something that has been planned for a long time, whether you want to believe it or not. The interesting thing about this particular picture, this comes from a 2016 article. All right, this meme here. And they were talking about being concerned about the mergers of banks back then. And what did they tell you here? Banks merge, crash imminent. So they were already warning people, if these banks continue to merge together, a crash is imminent. It's planned, of course it is. So cryptos at the moment are kind of wishy-washy, some red, some green, but for the most part held where they were. Bitcoin's at $27,400. Ethereum's at $1,760. XRP still at 38 cents. You know, the one that's supposed to go to the moon? Hex is at 8 cents. Cardano's at 34 cents. Polygon's at $1.15. Dogecoin is at 7 cents. Solana is at $22.29. Polkadot is at $6.40. Shiba is at 4011. Litecoin is at $83.18. Terra Luna is sitting at 3013. And Saitama is still doing well. Still doing very well. It's nice to monitor. There's not huge swings going up or huge swings going down, but they have consistently been moving up, even when all the other cryptos were red. So we're looking at 20219, and they are in the green. So if you're looking at the 1 day, it is in the green. You're looking at 7 days, it's starting to crawl out of a little bit of a hole that it got itself into. Over the past month, it was up here and then had a significant drop, but has been recouping ever since. But if you look at the overall for the past 3 months, you could see it's still way ahead of the ballgame. Here's that dip I was talking about, and this is them coming out of it right now. So Saitama is looking very good. If we take a look at gold right now, gold's at $1,977.90, still moving up. It's up $4.40. Silver's at $22.44. It's down 2 cents right now, so not that big of a deal. Nobody should be surprised at the movement of gold and silver, considering everything that's going on. Watching any of these, the S&P, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ, the Russell, any of them turn into green is just BS, man. They're just full of crap. These are manipulated markets. This is what I was warning people about before. You know, them claiming to bail out these other banks by having the bigger banks buy them out. These mergers are not good for any citizens. The more power you put into the hand of only a handful of banks, then we're just setting ourselves up for disaster. Nor should we be bailing out any banks whatsoever. This is why I don't like banks. This is why I only use them to pay my bills, but I do not keep my money in there, nor should anybody else. UBS is to buy Credit Suisse for nearly $3.25 billion to calm turmoil. But we're going to read part of this article that I want you to pay attention to what they're saying. It said banking giant UBS is buying troubled rival Credit Suisse for almost $3.25 billion in a deal orchestrated by regulators in an effort to avoid further market shaking turmoil in the global banking system. The regulators are the ones that orchestrated this purchase. You know, the federal government should not be involved at all. Swiss authorities push for UBS to take over its smaller rival. You notice that? Take over its smaller rival after a plan for Credit Suisse to borrow up to 50 billion francs or $54 billion failed to reassure investors and the bank's customers. Shares of Credit Suisse and other banks plunged this week after a failure of two banks in the U.S. sparked concerns about other potential shaky institutions in the global financial system. That's because of the piss poor job they do in investing. They keep taking the citizens' money and investing willy-nilly. Banks should not be able to take your money and invest it out at all. Outside of doing home loans, car loans, that's it, in my opinion. Allowing banks to go around and invest in other big corporations is dangerous, as we can plainly see. Because if those other bigger institutions fail or collapse, then it affects the banks. And the banks should solely be there to provide services to the people and nothing else. It says Credit Suisse is among the 30 financial institutions known as globally systematic important banks, and authorities worried about the fallout if it were to fail. These banks are known as the globally systematically important banks. They are part of what is known as a globally systematically important financial institutions under the World Economic Forum. I told you the World Economic Forum has set up governance for all different aspects of our lives, and banking is a big one of them. So the fact that they're failing the way they are, and we're seeing mergers happen the way they are, shouldn't be no surprise to anybody. I told you, these people are going to force us one way or another in a direction they want us to go in until people get fed up, tired of it, and they tell them to go F off, and we do something about this. The deal was one of the great breaths for the stability of international finance. This is the problem when you merge all these banks together, because if something goes wrong with one or two banks, then everything is unstable, and it affects all the banks. This is what I'm talking about, why we should not be merging. Again, banks should just be there to serve the people and not be involved in anything else. The Swiss president, Alain Berset, as he announced it on Sunday night, an uncontrolled collapse of Credit Suisse would lead to incalculable consequences for the country and the international financial system. Well, then why are you allowing your banks to invest the way they do, to take risk with people's money? Because when you do that, then the government is just as guilty, in my opinion, as the bankers. Switzerland's executive branch, a 7-member governing body that includes Berset, passed an emergency ordinance allowing the merger to go through without shareholder approval. So if you bought stock into these banks and you're not happy about these mergers, it doesn't make a difference. The government has now interfered and overrode any possibility of the shareholders having a say-so in what happens to these banks. Again, why is the government able to do these types of things? They should not have this type of power. I can understand if the government was truly there caring about the people, trying to do something to help them out, but they're not. They're not at all. They're all part of the same corrupt system that's causing these collapse. This is just them covering their own asses. That's why they keep saying stuff like this right here. It is a historic, sad, and very challenging day for Credit Suisse, for Switzerland, and for the global financial markets. And look how many employees this affects. 50,000 Credit Suisse employees, 17,000 of whom are in Switzerland. Here's an update 1. Bank of America is said to buy Signature Bank. Didn't I tell you they were going to merge? But this might just be a rumor. Bill Ackman, in a tweet on Friday, said Bank of America is going to acquire Signature Bank on Monday without citing the source of information. I'm hearing that Bank of America is going to buy Signature Bank on Monday, unless and until we can protect uninsured deposits. The cost of capital is going to rise for smaller banks, pushing them to merge or be acquired by the SIBs. And the SIBs, again, are the systematically important banks. Not all the banks are important, but just the ones that they choose. I don't think this is good for America. I don't think so either, and I've been saying that for quite some time. However, a source familiar with the matter told Reuters that Bank of America is not interested in buying Signature Bank. Signature Bank did not immediately respond to Reuters' request for comment. Bank of America declined to comment. So even if they do buy it, the fact that they keep merging all these banks together is dangerous for all citizens around the world. And people here in California should be sick to your stomach having Gavin Newsom out there praising the mergers. Why? Because he has a very large amount of his money in Signature Bank. That includes his Napa Valley winery as well as his own personal accounts. So of course he wants them to be bailed out, because if not, he would be part of the bail-in. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think. I look forward to comments, and I'll catch you later. I'm out.